Yo, what's up with y'all boys and girls, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here, and welcome back. Picks from the DawgHouse College Football Edition. We're in week 2, ladies and gentlemen. Week 0's in the books. Week 1's in the books. We have a really good football weekend on the horizon starting tonight with the NFL returning. And we're just here to let you guys know our thoughts, opinions, and how we see this action playing out. This is the College Football Edition. I bring in some of the top handicappers from across the internet and here from Pickdawgz.com, and we give you guys our thoughts and opinions on a few of the biggest games on the card, get you guys the information you need to know, and get you, ladies and gentlemen, in and out of here. I'm pumped up. I'm excited, man. What a weekend we have on deck. So without further ado, let's try to kick the crap out of the books. Our favorite plays are at Pickdawgz Premium. A link for all of that will be in the description below. But without further ado, let's hop right into this week's college football action. We're here with Ashley, week 2 college football action. Ashley, glad to have you again. How you doing?
What's going on, Jay? Coming off of a very turbulent week 1, lots of ups, lots of downs. Thursday started out strong, got punched in the mouth on Friday, and then had a decent Saturday. So all in all, it was a great week 1, but looking forward to getting into week 2.
Let's do it. I'm excited. We all know what today is. We're recording this on Thursday. My favorite NFL team is in action tonight, and it kicks off what I think is an amazing football weekend. We got NFL Thursday, college football, and NFL Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a loaded football weekend. Let's do it. Where are we heading to first here on the College Football Show?
Yeah, we're throwing it over to a big rivalry game, Iowa and Iowa State. Iowa State enters this one ranked 16th. They are 3-point favorites in this one. Iowa coming off a win over Albany. Iowa State also took a win against South Dakota in week 1. Like I said, big rivalry game. Cyclones did take last season 20-19, a really thin margin in that game. But historically, the Hawkeyes have really dominated in years past against Iowa State. They have won 7 of their last 10. Against the spread, though, they have split it evenly, going 5-5. In this game, I feel like I have to give credit where credit is due. If you guys recall, back in week 0, I took K-State in that doubling game over Iowa State. I had said Iowa State was overrated last season. For the record, I do still stand by that. But I gotta say, Rocco Becht looks really good. I mean, week 0, that was a pretty ugly game all around. But week 1, he steamrolled over South Dakota. He threw for 278 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 95% completion percentage. I think that was a school record that he posted in that one. But he looked great. The rush game looked good. Iowa State ran for 223 yards. Frankly, I don't think Iowa State had a ton of respect heading into that game. I ended up taking them around like minus 13.5. I think the line ended up around 16.5, but obviously they ended up smoking South Dakota 55-7. And South Dakota is not a bad team. I mean, they finished 11-3 last year, made it to the FCS semis. But Iowa State had no problem taking that win pretty easily. And now we see the opportunity of them taking on Iowa. Obviously, all the games in the past have been really close. Iowa had a good win last week too, 34-7. Definitely not where they were supposed to end up. They were almost 40-point favorites in that game, so they didn't exactly live up to expectations. There is some concern about Iowa's quarterback play. Mark Gronowski, he only went 8 for 15 for 44 yards and a touchdown, but frankly, they didn't use him too much. They didn't need to. Their run game was, they ran for over 300 yards. Granted, I don't think Albany's defense is much to write home about. It does seem like everyone and their mother is on Iowa for this one, just given the historical record, how low scoring and tight these games have been in the past. The road team has actually won several years running now, so it feels like a lot of people are on Iowa. But frankly, I don't think we've really seen the Cyclones' true potential yet. And also, in addition to that, since 2020, Iowa's only 0-7 against the spread against ranked opponents. So Iowa State, I think, is probably the real deal this year. They've crushed their lines 2 weeks in a row. So I'm going to give this one to them and lay the points.
Ashley taking Iowa State in the big Iowa showdown. Man, oh man. I'm excited. This is probably one of the games I'm most excited for this Saturday. Is Iowa State as good as advertised, like you said? Or will the Hawkeyes show that, I think they just had pretty light competition first 2 weeks. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting one. I can't wait to see how this one plays out. I don't have a dog in the fight as of right now currently, so I just want to kind of sit back and enjoy this one.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be close, but I don't think it'll be as close as years past. So Iowa they've always had a solid defense, but their offense is always in question. I think that's the same story this year.
Fair enough. That's the first one we're breaking down here in college football. Where are we headed to next?
We are heading to the AAC, UAB and Navy. Navy enters this one as 20.5-point favorites at home. Both coming off of wins last week. UAB won over Alabama State 52-42. Navy got the win over VMI 52-7. If any of the viewers right now, ran with my packages last year or watched any of my videos, I took Navy a lot, and I won a lot of money with Navy last season. Typically, they're a program that's been swept under the rug, but last year they really came out strong. I don't think many people were expecting it. They especially started hot. They were 6-0 to start the year, 5-1 against the spread. They slowed down a little bit in the middle of the year, but they still finished the season 10-3 straight up, 9-4 against the spread. And they ended up with some huge wins. They absolutely crushed Army in the Army-Navy game. They beat Oklahoma in the Armed Forces Bowl. So they really ended strong. Meanwhile, UAB, they had a tough season, 3-9 on the year in the AAC, 2-6 in conference play. They did face Navy. Navy smoked them in Birmingham, 41-18. I think the thing about these military academies, it's kind of a double-edged sword, is they can't get many transfers easily, or they don't see any transfers very often. That's a problem if you have some gaps you need to fill. But on the positive side, it does create some continuity with the teams. And I think that's what we see this season. There's a lot of returning pieces for the team, especially on their offense, most notably with their quarterback Blake Horvath. I kind of hesitate to call him a dual threat quarterback because we know Navy doesn't throw a ton, but he's definitely a force to be reckoned with on the ground. He rushed for over 1,200 yards with 17 touchdowns last season. But the funny thing was about this week one matchup was we actually didn't see a ton of Horvath. We saw a lot of their backup, Braxton Woodson. He was more of the same. He absolutely dominated on the ground, rushed for 180 yards, 2 touchdowns on only 7 attempts. Both of those touchdowns were long ones, one for 74 yards, the other for 68. If we look at UAB, they gave up 42 points to Alabama State. They gave up over 200 yards on the ground. I just don't think that they're going to be able to stop the run game here. And I think Navy's defense is good enough to give the Blazers a hard time. So I'm going to keep the tradition rolling here with Navy, and I'm going to lay the points.
Ashley, loving those Navy boys, and for good reason. This is not, the old Navy. This team has an offense. This team throws the football. And it wouldn't shock the hell out of me if they ran the score up here on UAB. So in this one, I really agree with that. Pretty much everything you said. I think this Navy team is just a different team, monster, and animal the last couple seasons. And we'll see if they can keep it rolling here in this matchup this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ashley broke down 2 games from college football for us here on the College Football Show. Money making weekend heading up. A lot of college football, still a lot of baseball, WNBA action. What do you have going on over at Pickdawgz Premium?
Yeah, absolutely. So much going on here. So if you guys head on over, you will absolutely be able to get my best pick of the day for college football action. You'll also be able to grab some for NFL. I'll have a couple 3-pack actions going as well if you want to get in on a few games. But if you prefer longer term packages, you can grab a week, a month, or a year of all of my picks. But if you're all in on football, I also have a dual season package with college and NFL. Use the code PICK to get 15% off. You'll get a great deal on it. Every single pick from now through playoffs. You won't miss a beat. So head on over and grab one of those.
Hop on with Ashley. Continue to kick the crap out of the books, ladies and gentlemen. Ashley, so glad to have you here on this show. We'll see you on the NFL show this week and throughout the season. And maybe a couple of morning show appearances here on the horizon as well.
Yes, sir. Yep, in a few weeks you might see me on one of those. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you, Ashley. We'll see you.
Thanks, Jay.
I'm here with Ron the Don Romanelli. I like to call him Mr. Rundown. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the College Football Show.
I'm doing great, Jay. Thanks for having me again. Ready for week 2 card. Looks like a pretty good card, I gotta say.
I think so too. I'm excited about the overall football weekend we have coming up. So let's do it. Where we headed?
We're going to an early game. We're going to go 12 Eastern. We got Illinois and Duke. This one's going to be on ESPN. So, Illinois ranked in the top 15. They had an easy win in week 1 over Western Illinois. But honestly, I wasn't that impressed with the offense. I know you see the 52 points scored in that game, but only 440 total yards. I thought that, that's a Western Illinois team that last year gave up 43 points per game in FCS action. They were one of the worst defenses in Division I college football. So to see Illinois, give up 3 sacks, only have 400 yards of offense, that's a concern for me because now you're going on the road in a very tough building against a very tough Manny Diaz-led defense. Duke's defense, I think, can really stand tall in a game like this, get pressure on Luke Altmaier, force him into tough passing downs. I think Duke will be good enough offensively. This was a team that struggled on the offensive side last year, especially in the run game, but they still have a solid offensive line. Their offensive line last year was great in terms of limiting sacks. I think Duke moves the ball enough in this game to at least cover this number. Now you can get the 3 and the hook, so getting that key number of 3. I'm going to take Duke plus the points. I think they have a real shot at winning this game outright, pulling off the upset. Give me the Duke Blue Devils plus the points.
Fair enough. Are you just not a big believer in this Illinois team this season? Or do you think this is just a specific bad matchup for them?
Well, I think that Illinois, this is a team that was really highly rated, highly touted going into the season. I think for mostly good reason, but I think we got to be careful laying points like this against another Power 4 opponent when in a tough building. Like I said, this is a really underrated. Duke's known to be a basketball school, but over the years, in recent years, they've had a really nice home field advantage and some solid teams that they put together. And I think that, like I said, Manny Diaz-led defense, laying points on the road against a defense like that, not usually a good idea. We've seen very similar spots like this where ranked teams up against an unranked team. The ranked team playing on the road as a favorite doesn't end well. A lot of outright losses and certainly not a great against the spread in recent years. So I'm going to go with that Duke Blue Devils plus the points.
Fair enough. From Ron, the Don Romanelli. Sir, man, we got a good weekend of football coming up between college football, NFL. What can we expect from you this weekend over on the premium side?
Yeah, I'm excited. I've already got a few plays locked in for college football. And, NFL week 1, usually I tread lightly. I probably won't have a ton of plays there, but week 2 college football on Saturday, looking like a great card. Like I said, some really quality games. And, week 1 wasn't my best week, but we ended the week strong, had a nice late card on Saturday, won the game on Sunday with Miami over Notre Dame. So really excited for this weekend. I think the best bet is to grab a long-term plan. It's going to get you all my plays in football and then also WNBA, Major League Baseball, like the rundown, and if I have any CFL selections as well. So I'm excited for this weekend and for a long season on the gridiron, and I'm ready to cash some tickets with you guys.
Let's do it, Ron. I appreciate you joining me this week. We'll see you on the NFL show and throughout the week here at Pick Dawgz, and let's get ready to kick the crap out of the books this weekend.
Let's do it. See you, Jay.
Peace out. I'm here with my guy, Jeremy Kahn. How are you doing this week, sir? Glad to have you here on the College Football Show.
Good, man. I'm excited for this. This is my favorite week for college football. Week 2, the overreaction week. So I think there's some great spots to attack.
I like that. Overreaction week. This happened last week, so it's going to happen again this week. Or at least that's what everybody seems to think. Fair enough.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. Fair enough. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say lots of great stuff. It's this time of year when you got so many different things to choose from. And even when we get into next month where it's like you got baseball playoffs, we start looking at the NBA and college hoops as everything starts to get ready. This is the best time of year, in my opinion.
Yes, it is. Of course, we got the big one tonight. My boys in action. We'll see if they can get it done. We have a loaded college football and NFL weekend on the horizon, man. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I'm ready. Where are we headed to first here?
Well, we're going to head to the state of Florida. And I think this is one of the more interesting games of the weekend. So just to kind of break it down a little bit, this is the one that I circle for the biggest overreaction because I don't feel like we know truly who Boise State is. They went on the road, lost a home opener on a nationally televised game, and they looked like complete ass. There's no other way to describe that. When you look at Boise, we're going to figure out who they are. But I'm not sure South Florida is as good as everybody else thinks. And I think Florida is way better than anyone thinks. This is a team this is Billy Napier's best team that he's had in 4 years. And his previous 2 seasons before last year, he finished on a losing streak. And now it seems like he's kind of putting it together with DJ Lagway. And you look at him, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He's going to be up on a lot of Heisman lists. Speaking of that. And as I look at this Florida team, I just think there's so much talent there and speed that this is going to be one of those, I hate saying puffy pants games, but when you're favored by 17.5, you got to win by more than 3 scores, right? Unless those 3 are touchdowns. So I just think it's a really good spot for them to pull away and kind of make a statement game here over a South Florida team that I think is being overvalued.
Fair enough. I watched that entire game last week, Boise, South Florida. I was surprised with how physical South Florida is or played in that game. I was surprised with how physical their quarterback ran the football. It's one thing to do all of that against a Mountain West team in Boise. It's another thing to do it against the SEC and the Florida Gators. So
did you hear so like just kind of comparatively speaking, looking at a similar type matchup, and I know the talent's not the same, but Mississippi State and Southern Miss last week. And then the coach from Southern Miss brought it up in the post game. He's like, look, man, they spent $15 to $20 million on their offense and defensive line. We shouldn't be hanging around with them. We know what's supposed to happen and what this game is. And I kind of feel like when you look at Florida, this is one of the best teams, probably the best team they've had under Billy Napier. I don't think it's close. You got a quarterback you can trust with throwing it, running it, everything. And they return a bunch of starters. So I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game where you have a top tier team in the SEC playing another team from a smaller conference. Those are tough games, man, especially on the road.
Fair enough. In the swamp, tough place for them Bulls to go and play. We'll see if they can play as well as they did last week or if the Gators will be just too much. That's the first one we're talking about here on the College Football Show. Where are we headed to next, my man?
I'm coming to your backyard, man. We're going Baylor and SMU. This is a game where I kind of had this one circled. Speaking of overreaction week, I feel like Baylor's in a great spot. Now, full disclosure, I was on Baylor against Auburn. That second half, I'm watching it going, what the hell is this? This is not what I expected. And both of these teams having a little bit of a turnover. When you look at SMU, the first thing everybody's going to bring up is Kevin Jennings and how good he was last year. I don't think he looked great in their bowl game, but all that being said, when you look at what this guy is capable of doing, yeah, he can win games on his own. It's the spread that jumped out to me when I was looking at this because it started out at 2.5 with SMU being favored. And I'm going, well, wait a minute. Baylor laid an egg and lost by double digits at home. SMU beat a team that, that they're supposed to beat by 40 or 50. And here we are with the spread that's under 3. I love Baylor in this spot, man, and I can't get away from it. As much as I like Kevin Jennings, you look at this SMU team, they got a lot to replace, especially with their defense. It was 26th in the country last year. They only have 2 returning starters, and the 2 guys that are coming back aren't necessarily premier players for them. So the other thing I would look at in this game, especially with that defense, looking at what Baylor's doing, because some of these teams are working on new offenses, and I think it takes a little bit of time to get it going. But Baylor's system, I feel like they'll get that going quicker. I think they keep this game. I don't want to say keep it close because I think Baylor wins outright. But I think this is one where they have this thing in hand for most of the game.
Fair enough, man. This is another 2 teams that, of course, I watched last week, and I kind of hear your, overreaction. These were some of the biggest games last week. Of course, Auburn and Baylor. I know a lot of people probably had their eyes on it. Baylor was a really trendy pick last week. A lot of people might just be mad at them and say this team's trash, try to throw them in the garbage. Auburn may be better than I thought. A lot of people gave them credit for heading into that game last week. SEC against Big 12 football. SMU might be a little overrated, overvalued, specifically because of last season and the success they had. Personally, I think man for man, player for player, roster for roster, I do think SMU is the better football team, but I don't know if that's enough to lay the points in this one, man. I think this is a tough game that could go either way, and I'm not mad at nobody attacking the plus money here with Baylor. Low-key rivalry game. These 2 schools only separated by, an hour or 2, Waco to Dallas. So it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one, battle here in the city. I can't wait to sit back and watch this one play out. All right, man. Talked about some Texas teams, talked about a fairly big game. Where are we headed to next, my man?
Yeah, let's talk about 2 teams that nobody want to talk about, and that's Washington State and San Diego State. So a couple of things here. So if you watch Washington State in years past, they kind of had the air raid offense. They would just chuck and duck, right? We're throwing the football all the time. You might see the QBs throw it 50, 60 times in a game. That's no more. They've switched everything up, and they're going more to the ground and pound and running the football. And if you're not running the football well, I think you can have issues. And there's a reason why this point spread is so small, looking at the factor that it's under a field goal. I've seen some 1.5s out there as well. But just looking at it, when I look at the two teams, here we go. Let me kind of break down Washington State for you because, again, changing up the offense to go run. What do you want to see on the other side if you like San Diego State? You want to see a bunch of returning starters on defense. They returned 10 of 11. Now, full disclosure, that defense wasn't very good with those 11 guys that were there last year. They were ranked 114th. But what I like about it, it's a senior-laden defense. It's seniors and juniors all across the board. The one unknown in this game is going to be San Diego State's quarterback. It's the transfer out of Michigan. I don't want to butcher this kid's name, and I'm probably going to. Jaden Denagle, I think. He was sitting behind J.J. McCarthy, and I guess looking at the situation, he said, it's probably better for me to go somewhere else, gets an opportunity at San Diego State. And San Diego State, they haven't had the past 2 seasons that they would like to have had, but I still think this is a good enough team to go on the road and actually win as an underdog. I like San Diego State. I'm going to take the points. I'm one of those guys that I don't mind taking the points there just in case. And if you want to sprinkle a little something on the money line, I ain't mad at you, but I think San Diego State wins and covers.
Fair enough. This is a game I've seen and done absolutely no homework on. Y'all know college football, how many games they got going on this week. So I'll take your word for it on this one. Last and final game you're going to talk about here on the College Football Show. Where we headed to?
We're headed to Ohio, where West Virginia is going to take on the Bobcats. And all right, so a couple of things to look at. Ohio, an up-tempo offense. I don't think we were used to seeing this back in the day when the former Nebraska coach was kind of running everything. But things have changed in college football where we're seeing less of the options unless you're any of the military schools. There are teams that run RPOs and pro-style offenses. But anytime you're watching a team that likes to play up-tempo, they return all of their wide receivers almost. I think they had 7 returning wide receivers, including all their starters, which I love to see. And the reason I love to see that is because I love the over in this game. And I'll get to some other points here why. But when I look at Ohio, a couple of things, the notes I had here on them, you look at a team that, again, plays up-tempo. They got this running back, Bangura. You have to watch him. The kid's an absolute stud. And when I look at West Virginia, they're not returning a lot. And this might be one of those spots where, hey, maybe you should take a peek at Ohio as an underdog at home because West Virginia's got a big turnover rate. But the reason why I still like the over is that what Rich Rod does is a system. It's plug and play. And you're setting players up to have success in that offensive system that he runs. And I'm not the least bit worried about a bunch of guys transferring out and what it means for West Virginia. I'll take my chances with the Rich Rod system. I think Ohio, with all their returning starters, especially the wide receivers, and the way that their offense moves, Bangura, who I think you're going to hear his name quite a bit this year, is one of the smaller school guys that looks really, really good. Give me the over here. I think we see points, and this is one of the higher scoring games of the weekend.
There you go from Jeremy, man. He just came on and broke down 4 college football games for us on his College Football Show debut. Jeremy, man, we got a great weekend of football on the horizon, man. NFL, college football, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah. I mean, Jay, I've heard people say about this weekend's slate, it's like, oh, there's not a lot of great games. And that's what you make of it. I mean, if you're a gambler, it's finding the edge. Like, okay, you guys go watch the game that ended up being great that came down to the last drive. I want the game where my team's up 3 touchdowns at the end and I don't have to sweat it anymore. Like those are the things I'm looking for. And you're finding value all over the board. And this is the perfect week to do it. I'm going to tell you the same thing in the NFL because people are going to overreact what happens on Sunday into next week. So I just think it's one of the best weeks to attack some of the lines that are a little bit off.
Fair enough, Jeremy. We just broke down 4 games here on this show, but I know you have some games you're really locked in on, and I know where to find them over at Pick Dawgz Premium. What you got going on this weekend over at Pick Dawgz Premium?
Yeah, so I've been trying to get my college football plays and NFL plays up a little earlier so people can get the best number and get a chance to look at it. I'm coming off of had a couple nice days this past week, and I said this on the morning show that I'm a little bit nervous about how confident I'm about this weekend because there's so much I love on Sunday, but there's even more that I love on Saturday. And I'll have a couple different packages up, triple plays, a 5-pack, try to throw some deals there. But college football has been very, very good to me over the years. Didn't start off great. But again, it's not a matter of that first weekend where you look at it. I'm not sitting here telling you my record's terrible. I think I was one game under 500, but there were a couple games where I thought I deserved better. I had Virginia Tech in that South Carolina game. Punt return ruins me. So if you want to check out some of the premium plays, college football has been one of my best sports. Definitely go over to pickdawgz.com, purchase a single. You'll see my write-ups and which ones I like the best. But yeah, this is a really, really good weekend.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hop on with Jeremy. Jeremy, we appreciate having you on the show. We'll see you throughout the season here on this show and the NFL show. And, of course, on the Lowdown every day here on the YouTube channel. I'm here with my guy, Brian Bittler. Talk to some college football. Glad to see you this week, Brian. How you doing?
Thanks for having me, Jay. Definitely excited about this week 2 of college football. Hopefully, we're going to make a ton of money, give out some free winners to the guys, and definitely take advantage of some situation spots.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Where we headed this week?
I'm going to take a look here at the Duke Blue Devils taking on Illinois here. It's one of my best free picks on the board in college football, but it happens to go off at the early 12 noon start here, which is one of the main factors in keeping it as a premium pick. Is I really feel that the sports books are more prone to let the masses win early on games like this. In any case, though, Illinois comes in 1-0. They're ranked 11th in the nation. They're off a 52-3 win. I think they're going to get a ton of attention here on the road, laying just about 3.5 against a Duke team who really, year after year, really are never a heavily bet team, more thought of as a college football team. Duke, though, I think they're overlooked, especially on the defensive front here. They should be able to get pressure on the starting quarterback of Illinois, Luke Altmaier. You know how great I am on last names, but I would be late in the hour on this game getting in on it. You get the best number if you can take it just before 12 noon. Illinois, definitely a big public casher, closing out last season, covering 4-0, and starting off this season with a cover. I think the Duke Blue Devils at home, definitely a live dog. I'm going to sprinkle some on the money line and take my big bet on the plus points with Duke.
There you go. Brian B. on the Blue Devils plus the points here in this one. Do you think Illinois is overrated? Do you think Duke is underrated in the spot like this? Do you think what's going on here? You think Duke's home field's not just being rated properly, or
I think, we see a lot in the early going of the college football season, like we saw with the Miami with the Miami game the other night with Florida State knocking off Alabama. People put too much, I think, credence into what happened last year. We see that early with Indiana and their lines. And Illinois, they had a lot of success last season. I think that carries over to the start of this season. And Duke, like I said, they're never a heavily bet team as far as college football goes. And I just think this line's sneaky good here to get in on a team I think is better. I think the Duke Blue Devils are better, even though Illinois is the ranked team.
Fair enough, Brian. What you got going on this weekend for college football and everything going on this weekend?
Well, I finished last year 58% in college football, number 2 as far as profit goes at pickdawgz.com. This year, I'm one game above 500 heading into this week 2, but I got a lot of big games lined up. Already have a Titanium best bet winner posted for Friday. As far as Saturday goes, I'll have my Titanium best bet along with my private players 3-pack, my 3 best bets in college football for $50 at pickdawgz.com. Maybe pair me up with one of the great college football handicappers on the site with a 2-for-1 capper special. Brian
B., appreciate you joining us this week. We'll see you on the NFL show and on the college football show throughout the week and throughout the season. Appreciate you, my man.
Thanks for having me, Jay. Definitely looking forward to it.
I'm here with my guy, Brad Wins Bets, here on the college football show. Brad, what's happening, my man? How you doing?
Doing good, Jay. Doing good. Can't complain. We've been pretty strong in college football so far, and we're going to keep it going.
Let's keep it rolling, my man. Let's keep it rolling. Where are we heading to this week?
We are headed to some SEC football action. We are headed to Kentucky, where we got Ole Miss and the Kentucky Wildcats. Interesting game here. Last year we saw a pretty big upset in this game. These teams played in Ole Miss, or at Ole Miss, I should say, and Kentucky actually won that game 20-17. And that was with Ole Miss having Jackson Dart. I think this Ole Miss squad is still solid. I think they're still very talented, but I do think they're better. They were better last year than they were this year. And now for this one, they go into Kentucky, and Kentucky's catching, double-digit points. Or Jay has it at 9.5, 10.5, whatever you could get it at. I still think it's too many points. I am going to be on Kentucky in this one. We saw week one quarterbacks making their first road starts, didn't pan out well. Whether it was Archie Manning with Texas going at Ohio State, or Simpson on the road at Florida State. Now we have Austin Simmons, the Ole Miss quarterback. This will be his first road start. He's going into Kentucky, playing a really strong Kentucky defense. I just think this is a game Kentucky controls the clock, limits the amount of possessions Ole Miss gets, and really just makes this game ugly like they did last year. And look, we don't even have to win this game. Kentucky doesn't even have to win this game. We're getting damn near double-digit points. Kentucky all day. Give me Kentucky and give me the points.
There you go, man. Brad on the Kentucky Wildcats, ATS in this one. Brad has come on this college football show and gone big game hunting. Now, back-to-back weeks, he had Iowa State. He was right on that one. And last week, he came on and took them Ohio State boys, and he was correct in that one as well. So, third straight week going big game hunting. And this week, he's on the home dog, Kentucky boys, to at least keep it competitive with Ole Miss. I ain't mad at it. Like you said, they beat them outright last year in Ole Miss with a better quarterback. I think, to me, I would say an overall better team in Ole Miss. While I do think Ole Miss will be good this year and, be in the mix in the SEC and in the college football playoff race, I think this is too much lumber to lay on the road. And like you said, first true road environment, SEC football. Even though Kentucky typically thought is one of the weaker teams in the SEC, they've been better over the recent years, and I really like their defense. I like the points in my back pocket here too. And like you said, if we can get up and over a touchdown and a field goal with the 10 and the hook.
Come on now.
I'm in.
Yep.
Fair enough, man. Brad, college football weekend coming up. NFL weekend coming up, loaded weekend of football. We're out of the dog days of summer, my man. What you got going over at Pick Dawgz Premium this week?
Yes, sir. We are going to crush this football season. Every day there's NFL. Every day there's college. You can find my best pick in either of those sports. I will have a separate pick for each one. They'll all be $25 at the site. So if you like me for the NFL, you can find that. If you like me for college, you can find that as well. I'll probably also have a 5-pack, 3-pack, one of those. So if you want all my picks, you can do that option. But really, we all know the best option is something long-term, a weekly or a monthly. Try me out. Try me out for the month of September. I will prove you that I will get you paid. And yeah, I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. So go check it out. Pick Dawgz Premium.
Let's do it, man. Hop on with my guy. Continue to kick the crap out of the books. Brad, appreciate having you on the show. See you on the NFL show and throughout the week here on the YouTube channel. Let's make it a good weekend, my man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm here with my guy, Chris Ruffalo. Welcome to the College Football Show, man. My man's live and on location in the best city in the world, Sunnyside, Las Vegas. What's happening?
Not a whole lot, Jay. Like you said, I'm here in Las Vegas. I can tell you the sports books, everybody's scattered and started running when they saw me coming because they know whenever Pick Dawgz shows up in Vegas, we come to do damage. But yeah, I'm ready to break down the action. I'm excited. We're finally football season. We're knee deep in college football. NFL's here, but we're here to talk college ranks, and I'm ready to break it down with you.
Let's do it. Where are we headed to?
We're going to this matchup from the AAC, and we're going to this game between UAB and Navy. And, the thing with UAB was that Trent Dilfer last year just looked all out of sorts. There were games where his UAB Blazers got their asses kicked. And for me, one of those games was against the Navy midshipmen, where this is a Navy team that, is now running sort of a new look option offense. But with Blake Horvath, there's an added wrinkle where, they can pass the ball now. It's not just, running the ball down your throat 60 times a game. You can actually, move it through the air when you need to. And we saw Navy last year, just absolutely blow the doors off of UAB 41-18. And now Navy goes into UAB against a Blazers team that, picked up the win last week against Alabama State, but it's also an Alabama State team that ranks 196 in the Sagarin rankings. They are, well below a ton of FCS teams. And they gave up 5 yards per carry to Alabama State, who was, 196, like I mentioned. And to me, if you can't slow down Alabama State and give up 5 yards per carry, what are you going to do against an option offense that, when it's humming, can run the ball up and down the field? I don't see, UAB doing a whole lot in this game, but this to me is more about Navy, running up the score, potentially putting up 40, maybe 45 points. And at that point, at 59.5, I do think UAB can contribute a couple of touchdowns here, get us into that 60-point range. I think this one's, just a track meet, maybe a one-sided track meet, but I like the over 59.5 in this one.
Chris, rocking with the over between UAB and Navy. Thinks Navy has a really good day offensively. And that's something you might not have thought you've heard, 2-3 seasons ago. But it's a different Navy team nowadays. What we got going on this weekend with your favorite plays over at Pick Dawgz Premium?
Yeah, for me, the best value is to hop on something long term. I'm going to have a platinum play for college football, as I normally do every week. A lot of times we can go high volume on these college football Saturdays. So the long term passes are the best way to go. You just have to check if you're just looking for an individual daily package. We'll have those too, but long term gives you access to every play I make. And a lot of times for me, those 3-day and 7-day passes are actually less than buying each of the daily packages individually, and it gets you a few days more worth of plays. So, like I said, with NFL here, we're still rocking with MLB, some WNBA, and all the college football. It's definitely the way to go. So you can pair me up with any of the great handicappers on the website, but use that promo code PICK to get 15% off your purchase.
Hop on with my guy, Chris Ruffalo. Continue to kick the crap out of the books. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris, we appreciate having you on the show. See you on this show and the NFL show throughout the week and throughout the season. And, of course, we'll see your face on the YouTube channel every single day.
Oh, this old mug? Yeah, you'll see it a little bit here and there. But thank you, Jay, for having me. I appreciate it, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yes, sir. And I'll be going last here on this week's college football show, but I'm talking about the biggest game of the week. I'm talking about the only game that features two ranked opponents. We got a game that features two Jordan brand schools. We got the Michigan Wolverines out on the road facing the Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma, 5.5-point home favorites, total 44.5. We all know what type of game this is going to be, and I don't want to be or have to be the smartest man in the room. I think the best play in this game is to take this game to fall underneath the total. This is going to be a hard-hitting game between two historic programs. You feel me? Y'all know me, I'm a line reader, and a lot of times I tell you, I think the line tells you what you need to know. This total is as low as it is for a good reason, and I also think you see Oklahoma this sizable of a favorite in this game for a good reason. I know Michigan comes into this game as the higher-ranked opponent. That means absolutely nothing in a game like this. Michigan starting a freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood. He has all the tools, You look at him and you say, oh, my God, I see why Michigan paid him what they paid him to come be quarterback at their school. But I've seen a lot of the greats struggle here in Oklahoma. It's a tough place to go and play. And I think a big game like this, his first big game of his career, he's going to struggle. I think this Oklahoma defense will be stout. I think they shut down this Michigan offense, who I don't think will be great anyway this season. They'll be serviceable. I don't think they'll be great. And on the other side, I think Michigan's defense will be just as good as we have known it to be. I think they limit Oklahoma from huge, big plays. And again, I like the under. When it's all said and done, though, I do think Oklahoma wins this game by 2 field goals or a touchdown. Home field advantage, I do think, is weighted properly in the line here. Shout out to Michigan. I know they're the higher ranked opponent. I know a lot of people are high on this team this year, and I'm not saying they have a bad year. I'm just saying this is a bad spot for them in Oklahoma. I got the Sooners. Boomer. Sooner. I think they beat up on Michigan here in this one. And that's going to conclude week 2 of Picks from the DawgHouse College Football Edition. We appreciate each and every one of you that continue to tune in, watch these shows, watch these episodes, and everything we do here at Pick Dawgz. All we ask is that you smash the like button for us. You subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as I always say, man, if you're rocking with us, rock with us. We're active on Instagram and Twitter all day long. There's a link for both in the description below. And of course, our premium plays are over at the site. Link for that in the description as well. Check out our NFL show. Similar format, going over the biggest games in the NFL. We'll have a link for it right here. Check it out, check it out, check it out. And check out everything else we have here on the YouTube channel and our website. It's been your guy, Jay Briggs. I'll see y'all next week here on this show and throughout the week. I'm out of here. Peace.